God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
All right, let's go now. Let's help out. God is my source.
God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
Oh, it's going to be a bad morning. I missed the break. How are we all doing this morning? Yeah, I try to be part of the band by doing that thing, and yeah. So, but that's okay. You're here. So welcome everyone. My name is Reverend Michael McMorrow. I'm the spiritual director here at our Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, where we welcome all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. And we do a little thing here called hugs and handshakes. We're just going to check in with each other and say good morning. Boom. Cheer pose. Oh yeah, it is football season. It's supposed to be chair pose, but it's been a while since I've got to class. So please help me welcome our presider this morning, Reverend Elizabeth Schneider. Sorry, Mike, that was me. All right. So let's all take a deep, conscious breath, allowing ourselves to surrender to this moment, this eternal now moment, as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Reverend Elizabeth lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. The eighth candle we light for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence in their lives and for the space we are holding for them here at our center. And it's Reverend Elizabeth lights the healing candle, which is already lit. We shall, that's a miracle. It's lit already. We shall put into the light the names of anyone we wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love and joy too.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and I see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
So join me in consciousness, please, this morning. As I speak my word in the first person for each and every person here, as I declare, there is one mind, one divine mind. I am a center in that divine mind, a point of God-conscious life, truth, and action. My affairs are divinely guided into right action, and everything I do, say, or think is stimulated by the truth and power of my unity With that one mind, I choose to live consciously. I step beyond seeing restrictions. I step into the crucible of life to create my own best life, a creative, loving, prosperous, and radiantly healthy life. I detach from old patterns of lack, limitation, apathy, workaholism, negative thinking, and more. I release any negative patterns and reformulate my thinking into manifesting my greatest potential. I heal any limiting memories from the past. I move into an amazing experience of life here and now. And I gratefully receive and give thanks for this opportunity to live consciously and more. And I release my work into the law, knowing it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And together we say, so it is. So good morning. So recently my granddaughter, she lives in San Francisco, she asked me to help her with a school project called Passport to California. And she selected me as someone who had emigrated to California, and I've done this twice, once in my 20s and then once later. And she asked me questions and she gathered information and photos. And then she made her oral presentation. Can you hear me now? So back in 2004, I discovered this website, My Publisher, and I created a photo book. I created some 30 photo books from that site, and then also a DVD about my life. But this book was one of my first books I ever did, and I did my life story I went and scanned all my photos and created a photo book, which actually the grandchildren have loved this. They actually have used it as a storybook. Well, lately I've been thinking, I'd like to augment my life story into more of a memoir, more detailed, because her question stimulated my thinking and got my memory banks going. And I need to get going on my life story. And why would we do that? I mean, I like having a personal memoir that I could publish as a kind of a legacy to my family, friends. I mean, they possibly sell it, but unlikely. But just to remind myself of my accomplishments, highlights, even worries of my life. And I was a world-class worrier, a catastrophic thinker before I came to this teaching. Yet here I am, still walking around on the planet, pushing 80, coming up in December. So my life becomes clearer, the arc of my life becomes clearer. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I do have some wisdom to pass on, or maybe I just want to be remembered, or maybe my descendants might like to know, about who I was and the path that led to their beginnings. So an example of that, I tell my kids that they owe their existence to LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson. So an act of political patronage actually changed the trajectory of my life. I was engaged to a naval lieutenant back in San Francisco. That broke up, so my girlfriend, she persuaded me to join the Foreign Service, not the Foreign Legion, but the Foreign Service. And she envisioned us living together in an apartment, some exotic post, and she was from Texas, and she had this drawl, and she said, well, Beth, she said, we'll just live like queens on our combined living allowances. Well, that did not happen. She was assigned to Athens, and I was assigned to Dakar, Senegal. Well, I really wanted to go to Europe. That was my dream. So I called my father, and he managed a factory in West Virginia, and there was somebody on one of his foremen who was active in the Democratic Party, very influential. And so I called my father, and I said, can this guy do anything? And that was on a Friday. So on a Monday, I get a new assignment, Brussels, Belgium. So I called my father, don't do anything, I got Brussels. To which he said, hey, the call went out Friday night. So later, I'm up in the personnel office, and I'm flipping through a Rolodex with have cards for every employee, and I see on mine, in parentheses, Lyndon B. Johnson. So I figured, I guess he was my patron. And then I met my husband, and the rest is history. So they owe everything to LBJ. Well, writing a personal memoir can be therapeutic, it can be fun. We recall memories from even decades ago. And we don't have to write in a strict timeline. We can just start whatever incident in our life possibly had the greatest impact on us, and we can pick those out And for me, for example, I had a bout with breast cancer, and that directed me on a spiritual path, and that's why I'm up here today talking to you. So we have these kinds of things, these forks in the road that we follow and change our lives. Well, Ernest Holmes says, never limit your view of life by any past experience. And he also says, prepare your mind to receive the best that life has to offer. So we can use our past. We can use it to look at those forks in the road, see the paths that we took, those life-changing events, even our losses as experiences that can help us to blossom and grow mentally, physically, and spiritually. As he says, you are more than you appear to be. Life is greater than you have ever known it. The best is yet to come, and so it is.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. I'd like to quickly thank David and Kent for covering for me, and David's wife Jill for covering for me last week. So thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have our next guest, who is a very good friend, and I'm happy to see you there. Please welcome Mr. Jerry Reike.
Happy to be seen.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Playing those mind games together, pushing the barriers, planting the seeds, playing the mind gorillas, chanting the mantra, peace on earth. Been playing those mind games forever. Some kind of dudes lifting the veil, doing the mind gorillas. Some call it magic, search for the grail. Love is the answer, and you know that for sure. Love is the flower, you gotta let it grow. So keep on playing those mind games together. Absolute elsewhere in the stones of your mind. You just can't those mind gorillas. Faith in the future, out of the now. Yes is the answer, and you know that for sure. Yes at war. I know you've heard it before.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all. I'm here to highlight some announcements. First of all, I want to say that the giving basket of food, the donations that have been coming in, the basket is almost full. I think next week I'll be making my first drop-off. So thank you for your continued donations for the food bank. There is a form in your program today to update your contact information. So our new administrator is updating our database. So it looks like this. It's in your program, so please fill that out. Even if you think the information we have is correct, fill it out anyway. We're updating everything. Please. 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 There's also a form in the program for the giving basket. I don't want you to forget about that. If you fill it out and we draw your form, we will give to a charity of your choice. And also there's a form in here for spiritual mind treatment. If you'd like treatment for anything, fill this out. The practitioners will treat for you, or hang out after service in the back of the room and we'll do a 1-minute miracle. Abraham Hicks group is meeting today, yes, at 2 o'clock. I don't know who's filling in for Mike Carlin, but somebody will be. Oh, Circe. Also this week, Wednesday, October 18th, and then the following Wednesday, October 25th, we have a wonderful relationship and communications workshop. Listen, if you don't come to the Wednesday night service and you're able to, I invite you to come. It's a wonderful service, but especially in the next 2 weeks, we have this wonderful guest speaker who's going to be helping us fine-tune our communication skills. That's Joy Andrioli. So come check that out this Wednesday and the following Wednesday. Saturday, October 21st at 9:30, we have the Course in Miracles. And then next Sunday, October 22nd, is the Bereavement Support Group, wonderfully facilitated by Reverend Jessica. So come check that out at 1 o'clock next Sunday. Wednesday, October 25th, Sangha, meditation and more. I'm sure Sangha is always wonderful. I know it is. I've never been because I have to work. But I know that it's I know it's very well attended. There's sign-ups in Sparks Hall for all events that are going on. Okay, Smile at Amazon is, we get 0.5% for everything you purchase. If you fill that out and make this your choice of recipients, then we will be getting a portion of what you spend. And I think that's all I got. Anything else is in here. Check it out. Look how beautiful that is, by the way. Isn't that pretty? Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you, Andrea. So if you'll stand, we have our Declaration of Principles. It's in your program, and it's up here. We believe in one universal spirit, manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe the universal spirit is personal too, and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe our faith operates upon a law of mind, which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and the immortality of the individual soul ever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I am alive, I am alive, I am alive in this world. I am alive, I am alive, I am alive in this world. And I shine I shine, and I shine so bright. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright.
That was great.
I like the tinkly shine at the end. Shine. All right, thank you, Reverend Elizabeth. Let's give her a hand, shall we? Yes. So there were some interesting morsels in there. And this is not a knock, just an observation. The idea, so, you know, so much of our life is structured by language and how we see language. And so it's interesting that you see yourself being pushed into 80 versus being pulled into the vision of your 80s. Yes. I mean, really, what we think that benchmark, right? So it took me until I was 56 to be used to my 50s, right? Which is kind of silly when you think about it. Right? So we're being pulled into a greater vision of our life. We're being pulled pulled from the past into the greatest yet to be. You said the quote yourself. This is the truth of our being, yes? Yeah. This is the great promise. This is what we offer. It's what religious science or new thought uniquely offers. Right? And one of the ways that we get there is by developing an intimacy with Spirit, which is really just an allowing. It's just an allowing because the Spirit's already there. Now, I have been in those times where I have asked, where is God? I think that's part of the human condition. I have had times in my life where I have felt completely separated from Spirit, but also from my fellows, my brothers and sisters who I'm walking the planet with. And I think it is part of the human condition that we have within us a longing for a sense of meaning, a longing for a sense of connection in life. And this really is the function of religion, if you think about it. This is what I think, at least what came to be my expectation about religion came to be that I wanted a sense of meaning in my life that went beyond some CYA practice, where I'm just covering my backside for the eternal hereafter. I wanted to live in the Spirit now. I wanted to know that I was created in the image and likeness of the divine itself, so that the pattern of perfection that God is already expressing as me, but sometimes my stuff gets in the way. That's my experience. Anyone else relate to that? Yeah, this is the human condition. So it really calls to us, what have you come here to be, my beloved? Right? Deep calls unto deep, as the expression goes. So now how can we get there? How can we get to this idea of our intimacy with Spirit? Well, one of them is of course, within our relationships. Maybe we don't see them that way until we wake up to the truth that that's what they are, right? Certainly the most difficult relationships that we have, right? So that whole thing about soulmates, right? Soulmates, that perfect one. We go skipping hand in hand down the happy road of destiny together. But I got to tell you, my greatest teachers have been the ones that have just given it to me. I think those are soulmates too. That's where the most growth came from. Now, my life with Stephanie is pretty dreamy. Right? Except when she doesn't comply with my wishes and demands, but that's another story. Sorry, honey. It's funny because that really is part of the deal too. We suffer because our life doesn't meet our expectations. And relationship is really where we learn how to navigate that. Right? First within our families, and in the sandbox, and in school. And then we start our own sandbox. So, we can also experience this in spiritual community. So that it's been said that religious science churches are a place where people learn to grow or learn to be by growing up all over each other. Yes. And so we come together and we kind of rub the rough bits smooth. Right? So we're rubbing up against each other, but what are we working with? We're working with the flow of Spirit. Right? So making the rough stone smooth in a stream. So we are in this stream of consciousness, in this dream of consciousness, if you will. All of us creating together in spiritual community. We practice that here. And then we take that into our relationships and into our families and into the work site and into the voting booth. Right? Into our consciousness around environmentalism. Whatever we are called to do. What have you been called to do, my beloved? So yesterday, we got to play around with what a couple people have been called to do. Oops, where's my other picture? Yeah, that was me being chased by a tennis ball. So anyway, I had a picture. I must have messed it up, but it's right here in my thing. So yesterday, this is Nikki and Barbara, and then, well, this picture really is small. Let me get out my glasses here. Susan won a tennis racket, which has a kind of a funny irony to it. And then Natalie got a new head tennis bag. Hey, I know you're going to be kicking it next year. And so Nikki and Barbara, right? They've created this wonderful way of serving the planet.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yes, it was really fun. Both in their own ways, by encouraging people to get out there and move around. We're not used to that in our center. And yeah. But it was really wonderful. and we got to meet some of Nikki's friends from the tennis community that she's created. And I've met many people from Barbara's community, some who were there. Barbara's teaching kids how to be better in life in the Sylmar neighborhood through tennis. Right? So didn't it feel good knowing that there's religious scientists doing this kind of work? So we just each work our own little field. And in doing that, we have the potential or the possibility of creating an idea of intimacy with the divine, intimacy with God. And so when we awaken to the idea that the Holy Spirit is impressing itself in everything, every aspect of creation, there is no spot where the Holy Spirit is not. That means it's right where you sit. It's in the chair that you're sitting on. It's in the air that you're breathing. When we start to really play around with that and contemplate this possibility, our life has the potential to really shift and change and to bring that sense of meaning that we're so longing for into the most seemingly, up until that point, mundane aspects of life. Because now it all counts. And if we feel like it doesn't count, then we change our thinking and make it count. Or we focus on the things that count. Now there's a saying attributed to Jesus when he's teaching about how to pray. And he said first, and I'm not a great Bible quoter, but you'll recognize the story. Right? So the first thing he says to do is to first go and get right with your brother. If you are in discord with your brother, straighten that out and then come see me. Everyone know this thing? This parable? And so this, I think, is the way that intimacy is such a wonderful guidepost to showing how we can deepen our relationship with the divine by deepening our relationships here on this earth plane. Because really, we're doing the dance with the divine. Now, this is not always easy to know when you are in conflict and you've locked horns with someone. But it does kind of ask the question, how do we allow behaviors here on this earth plane to get in the way of having a more intimate life? Recognizing that if God is everywhere present and is present with all of the people that I am in relationship with, then how do I square that and allow that to come forth? Well, we engage in crazy behaviors. So I found this blog post entitled The Good Men Project, 10 Intimacy Breaking Behaviors That Will Make Your Life Living Hell, by Stephen Lake. So why do we allow ourselves to think about work to distraction? Why do we when we're, honey, I don't want you to listen to any of these parts right now. Why do we when we're talking about something emotional or uncomfortable, why do we change the subject? Or why do we look for ways to get in an argument with our partner or criticize our partner, especially when we think we're helping them because we're telling them something they really need to know? Right? So just build walls or bridges? Yeah. How about complaining about our partner, attacking our partner in anger, not giving our partner our full attention? Right? So this used to be the thing with Mr. Wilson in the newspaper. And now we're bringing our smartphones and devices to the dinner table. Be quiet, Stephanie.
There was that wall.
Oh, I mean, yes. Thank you, Jerry. I'm opening. Or how about not sharing the experience of life? Maybe we think our day's life is too boring to share. because we're not interested enough in it. Why would they be? And yet, a shared life is part of this intimacy thing, right? And our kids, like, what'd you do today at school? Nothing. Wow, for 8 hours you did nothing. Well, recess was fun. Okay, how about addictive behavior? Drugs, alcohol. Actually, it says excessive use of pornography, drugs, alcohol, or work. You mentioned workaholism. Then the big one is withholding. Withholding kindness, withholding affection, withholding sex. If you are doing this, you are not only engaged in intimacy-breaking behavior, but you are in the process of creating hell on earth for you and your partner. I know, deep sigh. So this is not recommended. Or as the Dalai Lama would say, this is not helpful. So what do all these behaviors have in common? Right? They're building a sense of separation. Right? And sometimes they're building a sense of isolation. You know, I would also add in there, we can also get into spiritual materialism and use our spiritual practice as an isolating behavior. Or self-righteous jive. And it's not just us, the householders, who engage in that. Right? Ministers, gurus, popes. So, do we want to create hell on earth or heaven on earth? Yeah, of course, heaven. We want to bring forth the imperial rule of the divine here in our daily life. That's part of the Lord's Prayer. An invitation. Right? So again, the scriptures of Jesus, right? Knock and I shall enter. Right? Always there. It's like the Roto-Rooter, man. You just call and it's there. So what does this have to do, all of these things and these behaviors, what does this have to do with the intimacy of spirit, or developing a sense? Right? How, I think really the question is how can we make this exchange, whether we're in relationship with a significant person like a spouse or a partner, or a business partner, or a co-worker, or our children, grandchildren, siblings, right? So people in some families, you know, where siblings haven't spoken to each other for years, right? Calling healing. Now sometimes that's not such a safe place. So there's also something to be said about spiritual discernment. So what must be added to make this exchange more dynamic? Well, you and me. We need to show up. We need to stop doing. More doing, less doing, and more being. And we've been practicing this on Monday nights in our mindfulness class. Really great class. Christine Velasquez is a gifted teacher, I would say, and a wonderful spirit. And she has some great material that she's sharing with us. You know, meditation, so for instance, for those of you who missed it, you know, there was a chocolate meditation. Yeah, you thought meditation was sitting on a cushion with a, I will not think for the next 20 minutes. This is not meditation. It's being fully present with what's being presented, at least in mindfulness meditation. There's a raisin meditation. We spent a minute looking at all the wrinkles. breathing with it, be one with the raisin, feeling the wrinkles, right? It's like, could have done a Tootsie Pop. How many licks to the center of a Tootsie Pop? 1, 2, 3. So we need to be more rather than do. Now think about all the money, probably millions of dollars nationally spent in the industrialized world, spent in couples therapy to learn that really all anybody's looking for is for their partner to be here, now, and to connect. Therapist friends tell me that what women really want most in life, don't listen to this, Stephanie, is to be heard. Is this true? Is to be heard. Well, you know what? Men like the same thing, too. Yeah, it's the human condition. But I'm too busy to talk about that right now, so let me move on. So this is the cost. So it's free. It's absolutely free, but it costs us the one commodity that we really don't want to share, the one we hang on to the most, the one that we waste the most, and that is time. Pushing 80. No. We're being pulled into the vision of our life. We're not being chased by time. Right? This made me think of Captain Hook. I think we feel like we're being chased by time. Or we're chasing time, right? This image has both of it. Because remember, the crocodile did what? He swallowed what? The alarm clock. So in the story of Peter Pan, you know, Captain Hook would hear the... In fact, I think there's a ride down in Disneyland that does that. So in order for us to build more intimacy, whether it's with our partners in life, our brothers and sisters in life, or with Spirit itself, is to be still and know I am God. So I have to tell you, before I learned spiritual mind treatment, I went on this quest to learn how to pray. But I wanted to have the perfect conception of God. This is years before religious science. And I was stepping away from my religion of origin. I was even stepping away from the Jesus construct. I was thinking about maybe the Jews are onto something. Right? I went looking for a Catholic church that was dedicated to the Holy Spirit. And I couldn't find one. Not in the way that I was looking for. There actually is one downtown. And I refused to kneel to pray. So I would go up in my room and say my prayers in private, and I would pace back and forth. God, if you are up there, this is what I need for you to get happening for me right now. Yeah, I'm grateful to be sober. That's great. But I need some stuff happening in my life right now. And I'm not going to... So here I am in the privacy of my own room, and I can't kneel. That's puzzling. So even when we speak to the divine within, does this mean that we can't kneel? Observing the awesome power of love itself expressing in this manifest universe? So I get my attention by kneeling. Well, technically I'm genuflecting. Oh, I'm taking a knee. Sorry. But I can know the Spirit is within. Just gets my attention. Not with a sense of worship, but in allowing the dance of the divine to happen by means of me This is a much deeper experience. You know, the story of Judaism has a lot of joyful celebration in it. Dancing, literally dancing with the divine. Hinduism, dancing with the divine, chanting, joyfully chanting. And we have the Gregorian chant in our tradition. So Father Richard Rohr speaks to how the divine has within it. This is how you can tell if there's joy in it, if there's humor in it, if there's spontaneity in it. You're playing with the divine. Now, Holmes speaks to this when he says, you know, it's time to release the morbidity of religion. You know, again, that CYA consciousness, that I'm doing all of these things so I don't burn for eternity, which really hasn't made much sense for a long time. So, well, let's see. What page am I on here? Yeah. So here's the thing that ultimately we can know, right? That love is within us. Holmes tells us this. It cannot be destroyed. Now, when he is speaking about love, he's speaking about the divine. He could have said, Spirit is within us. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be ignored. To the extent that we abandon love, we will feel that it has abandoned us. So if we're feeling cut off, it's up to us to re-engage. Right? And we start right where we're at. We don't have to go up to the mountain and get the tablets. Somebody already did that. We don't have to get up on the cross and die for everyone's sins. Somebody already did that. We don't even have to sit on a meditation cushion for years, almost starving ourselves to death until we achieve enlightenment. Somebody's already done that. Am I at 25, 27? All right. I'm getting the shut the hell up light back there. That's okay. I'm getting ready to go off on another tangent. All right, so let me just share with you this last slide that I have. Whoops. It was a good slide. What it said was, fastest thumb in the West. Oh, okay. Can I go backwards? No. MC God, you heard that. God heard that. MC God, be still, no. Each one of this, yeah, each one through is something personalized. All right, here we are. As you develop intimacy with God, the supernatural becomes natural. Right? So here's the thing, right? So we know this, right? We know this. We don't have to go anywhere except be right where we're at, with life as it's showing up right now. Just with what you think that you are. Let's call the musicians up here and I'll finish up. Let's just take a deep breath. And just put your hand over your heart. Just recognize and know that the divine is within. The Holy Spirit is within you right now. Loving, accepting, inspiring, and firing you up. And all we have to do is open to that truth. And so this week, we practice allowing our life to become more intimate in our earth relationships, with our relationship with the divine, with our relationships with our brothers and sisters, expressing the divine as each of themselves. We see through the murkiness of life. And I mean every level, including you know who. God is good all the time. There's only God and nothing else. So in this life, then, we know that we are simply learning to fly. And we ain't got wings. And listening to Jerry is the next best thing. So I'm going to let him do that.
Nice rhyme. in honor of Tom Petty. Started out down a dirty road. Started out all alone. The sun went down as I crossed the hill. The town lit up. World got still. I'm learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down is the hardest thing. Learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. When the rocks melt, when the sea burns, learning to fly, I ain't got wings. Coming down is the hardest thing. Some may say life will beat you down, break your heart, it'll steal your crown. So I've started out from God knows where. Guess I'll know when I get there. Learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down is the hardest thing. I'm learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. I'm learning to fly for better things.
All right, we can do better now, can we? Come on, let's get started. Very nice. Well, the lads did you proud last week and with Jill, but it's good to have you back there, Ken.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so as we prepare our gifts for the offering, we're going to invite our ushers to come forward and to Ken take us into our offering song.
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives
right, so just resting in this vibe for this moment, just for a moment longer, recognizing and knowing that the gifts presented here this morning are a demonstration of consciousness, of a generous consciousness that knows and knows that it knows that God is our source, our substance, our supply. And so through the generous heart of the individual in which these gifts have been presented here this morning, we, representing the heart of this community, accept these gifts with deep appreciation, respect, and love, as we know together they go forth to heal, to prosper. This Center for Spiritual Living, for the life intention and vision for each one of us here, knowing we are pulled into our best life now, that we extend this knowing and this blessing to our friends here in our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, that we know for our planet as well, that all of it is a demonstration right from the mind of the divine itself. And to the extent that we allow ourselves to align with this truth, we see the dance of the divine emanating in ways great and small. And this lifts our hearts. We feel a sense of grace and power that allows us to live this idea of spiritual living, shifting and lifting our own life and those around us. We are grateful. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So please help me thank lovely Rita, usher maid, and Miss Chloe. All right. Come on in, y'all. So, how are the Patriots doing, man? Tom Brady's not aging. He's ageless, isn't he? Yes, he's a wonderful demonstration of the teaching. All right, so who's going to be sharing for us this morning? Miss Rosa, lovely to see you. How's your school year going? Good, good to see you. So, what would you like to share with us this morning?
We made tiny people.
Oh, nice.
Because they're for the food donations basket. They're giving food. They will be. They will be.
Yeah, so we're all connected in that way, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for coming today. It's nice to see you. Oops. Excuse me, Harper. Was I in your way? Nice to see you. Hello, Piper. Are you going to share with us this morning? Wow, what have you got here? Who is our spokesperson today?
This one's yours.
Okay, nice.
So they did trees. Okay, go for it.
So my mom was drawing up branches in the tree, and the kids were like stamping the paint on the papers.
Nice.
And we played, and paint trees.
Sometimes we got nothing, huh?
Hi, so they painted trees to represent fall that's happening right now and letting go of the past and waiting for the future. And then we also did mindful meditation with eating.
Great. And Harper is exhibiting what all of us are feeling about getting out of this church already. It's been an hour. Yes. So I would like to invite you, though, to stick around. We have refreshments on the other side. So come check that out. But also a very dear friend of mine and of ours, Sue Scheid. Wave your hand, Sue. Wave your hand. So this is Sue's last Sunday, yes? She's moving to Orange County, Seal Beach. Don't feel too sorry for her. But we do have a cake for Sue. And your granddaughter? Yes, welcome. What a lovely way to celebrate your grandmother today. So stick around for that. And thank you all for coming. Let's thank Jerry one more time, please. Yes. And let's invite our practitioners to come forward here and stand up in front. If you need a miracle minute today, miracle minute, they are here to pray with you. So nab one, and Reverend Elizabeth is going to pray us out. Thanks for being here today. Thanks to the folks online. See you next week.
So join me in consciousness, please. So I speak my word in first person for each and every person here this morning. So I declare right here, right now, God is, I am. I am an individualized expression of God in action right here on this plane of consciousness. And I declare that I push aside the barriers and I plant the seeds to receive the best that life has to offer, to create a direct line to intimacy with Spirit, to manifest all that I can be, all that I can do to create a better world. And I awaken to the God force within, knowing that as I strengthen my communication, my relationships, my intimacy with the divine, I am more effective in my relationships here on this plane of consciousness. I bring forth my connection with the divine into my daily life. I am fully present in my daily life, in my relationships, and in the pursuit of my dreams. As I dance with the divine, I am filled with joy, humor, spontaneity, beauty, truth, and love. And gratefully receive and give thanks for all this good and more flowing into my experience. I release my word into the law of mind, knowing it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And together we say, so it is.
Please stand for the peace song. One, two, three, 4.